You're listening to the New Artist Workshop.
Gamorrean girls and Gamorrean guys fly like a ship through the star-filled skies. Gamorrean guys and Gamorrean girls moving like a groove until you're out of this world.
Well, howdy. Welcome back to your favorite podcast. Now, that's what I call a franchise. I'm here, Manguzo.
Okay, you don't need to.
I'm not making fun of her, Vivian. I was watching Reba, so we were just talking about accents.
Anyways, I'm Viviana Metzger, and this is the show where Peter and I pick a film franchise and go through every single installment, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
And to be clear, we're done. It was a one joke. And to be clear, we're defining a franchise as a series of films with at least 4 entries. So, Viviana, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about the 2022 film Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation, and this is your one and only spoiler warning, so if you haven't watched the movie, do that before listening to this episode.
That's it for this week's episode of Now That's What I Call...
Goodbye.
I feel almost nothing for this.
Here's the blurb.
Yeah, give us the blurb.
Looking for a much-needed break, Finn arranges a...
Of all the names you're about to read, Finn is the easiest one.
No, I saw arranges and I was like, wait, a stingray? Wait, hold on.
I don't even know how that's possible. You could... Anyway.
I read you. Finn arranges a surprise vacation for his friends Rey, Poe, Rhodes, Chewie, BB-8, R2-D2, and C-3PO aboard a luxurious
Halcyon.
Halcyon. However, Finn's plan to have one last hurrah together quickly goes awry.
So...
What the fuck's the Halcyon?
The Halcyon's the name of the hotel.
Oh, aboard the luxurious Halcyon. Okay, not a... Okay.
No.
I thought it was a noun.
It is a noun. It's a proper noun. It's the name of the
I thought
thing.
it was just a...
You didn't notice the capital H?
I just thought it was a casual noun.
No.
Not too proper.
So let's see. So Finn, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we know that the Star Wars hotel was like $4,000 or $5,000 basically a person. So yes. We're looking at like $40,000 in Earth money.
Actually, so watch the movie before listening to this episode. Okay, cool. But also, if you want to really know, go watch Denny Nicholson's videos on the Star Wars hotels because it just gives so much context to this.
So so that's the thing with this is that, and I didn't know this until we were watching it. Mm-hmm. So if you don't know what Viviana's talking about, there was a very infamous, quote-unquote Star Wars hotel. The official name was Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser. But it was just colloquially known as Star Wars Hotel, right? And it opened in 2022. I think it was in May of that year. And was way too expensive and wasn't worth the money. It was kind of underwhelming. And it closed about 18 or so months later. Not at less. I think it was September of 23. So 5 to 9. So about 16 months later. So not even a year and a half later, it closed. Yikes. And Jenny Nicholson within the past year. I forget when that was. I think it was earlier this year, over the summer maybe.
Yeah, a few months ago.
Or in May. She did a whole big breakdown about it, a 4-hour video, and it's it got a 10 million views or something, this 4-hour deep dive into the Star Wars hotel.
It was very in-depth.
It was very in-depth and insightful.
I very much appreciated it. I knew nothing about this thing. I had just kind of heard about it, and I was thinking it was just a regular hotel. Mm-hmm. But it was
it was basically a role-playing
thing. So much more, but so much less at the same time.
It was meant to be this isn't your grandma's hotel. It's it's basically your LARPing for a weekend or 3 days or however long it was.
You pay what was it, 8,000?
I think I read, let's say 4,000 or 5,000.
It was $4,000
per person for the 3 days.
Per person for a 3-day weekend, and it could only be 3 days. It wasn't like a regular one. It was.
It's essentially it's less of a hotel, more of an experience where you happen to sleep there.
Yeah. Well, that was like one of the things for me is that like you have all this stuff that is planned, and then
you have no agency over your like trip.
No. You like go to like sleep in a fucking barracks, like.
Yeah, it's basically like cruise ship level like, size.
Not even like a nice room to like unwind in. It's just like you're like in bunk beds. Like
essentially, yeah. all to say, we're not gonna relitigate the Star Wars hotel here. But the reason why
I would love to.
No, that's not what this is about. Because to be fair, this film is not about the Star Wars hotel. But
yes, it is.
But when they go, I realized immediately what this was. Like as soon as we saw the lobby, I was like, oh no. Because this only came out a couple months after the Star Wars hotel opened.
Exact replica of the lobby
area. Like in like certain areas of the hotel. And like
also
when they go to the bar, and this is one of my trivia bits. The medical, when Finn is approached by the ghost of Obi-Wan at the bar, he is drinking a Yerdua Poison Spitter Drop. This is a drink available at the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser. So I noticed it because they were like, would you like to try this? And like they name it and make sure you see it. Even in Lego form, it's like, oh, like you love the synergy of it.
Well, that's the thing is there were like so many name drops that it's like, I don't even know why you would say it's not about that. Like...
So you're arguing this whole thing exists.
This is a giant commercial.
I don't know, because it's in Lego form. Like if it was like live action.
It's subtle.
But I also like a third of it isn't even there.
Commercial.
A third of it's on the beach, so it's not even there.
I suppose so.
Right, because this basically has the same structure as the last one.
Yeah, because the place sucks.
Well, yeah, well, we're not.
That's why.
The big, we're not gonna. You're not gonna hear me argue against that.
Tech, like, flavored, like decorated like dungeon, basically.
Yeah, it's just. Here's some basic info. So it was directed once again by Ken Cunningham. So he's done this whole little Lego Star Wars trilogy, if you will. Mm-hmm. The only other person to do 3 Star Wars films other than George Lucas.
Nice.
So good for you, Ken.
Good job,
It was written by David Shayne. It was produced by Daniel Cavey and Dan Langlois. Distributed again by Disney Plus. And like we said, it was released in August of 2022. We had never watched this, unlike the other 2 Lego movies we had seen.
I didn't know this existed.
I knew this existed, but I was kind of, even back when we watched Terrifying Tales like a couple of years ago, I was kind of underwhelmed by that. Mm. And then, so when we get to this one, I was just kind of like, I'm busy. Mm-hmm. Like, I had other shit going on in August of 2022. So, like, I was just like, And also, it wasn't tied to, like, a specific holiday. Like, they were really forcing it. Like...
Yeah. Well, and it's also, like, I mean, I guess they don't do it entirely, but it's more like an ensemble film. So, it's, like, not
even. We barely see the other characters.
To draw. I know, but it's, like, I don't know.
So, like, the premise of this is... They go and Finn is worried about how like this is like the last time they're all going to be together, because I guess like they're all going to go like kind of split off and do like their own things to help the new galaxy or whatever. So he gets advice from 3 spirits. And notably, it kind of has the same structure as the last one, where it's 3 little stories. Mm-hmm. And notably, like the last one, each one takes place in one of the distinct trilogies. So, like, there's a prequel era one, an original trilogy era one, and a sequel trilogy era one. Though I can't remember what... Oh, yeah, the sequel trilogy one was, like, young Ben on a vacation with Leia and Han. Not Ben Kenobi, Ben Solo.
Oh, yes.
But also then there's one with Ben Kenobi where he gets with a black lady. Brown sugar.
Yes, and he's singing at the club.
He's rapping. It's really something. So, but like we said with the last one, how like the stories kind of felt forced. These really feel forced. This just feels so like this whole thing from beginning to end just feels so lazy and cynical, right? Because you have the element of like, hey, here's our Star Wars. I wasn't expecting it 100%, but there was like I thought there was a non-zero chance that the end of it would just have a live action 30-second promo of the hotel.
What? No.
Like, I wasn't that surprised. You just said it was a whole commercial.
I know, but a subtle one. Not like a straight up one. It's like native content, right? Where it's like an ad, but you don't know it's an ad because it doesn't look like an ad.
But you know what? I bet I have no evidence to support this. And my source is I made it up. But
okay.
I wonder if this probably didn't happen, but imagine if like when this first came out, because Disney Plus, they'll just put like little clips up. So maybe I wouldn't be surprised if Disney Plus had like a little like 10-minute featurette about the Star Wars hotel. So when you finish this and then like it zoomed out to show you other options, it would like be a featurette for the hotel, is what I'm saying.
What? It would zoom out. And
No, like on Disney Plus, when you finish watching something, it zooms out to show you like other things you can watch.
Oh, you may also like. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if back when the Star Wars Hotel existed, it was like, hey, you should watch this little 10-minute.
Is there like a documentary?
I have no idea. I don't think, not a full documentary, but maybe like a 10-minute like sneak peek. Mm-hmm. So what did we think? Well, that's it for this week's episode. I don't even know if I would say it's cute. It just feels lame and forced. Like
there's that one, and then
like all of these have felt very after school, especially like if I learn to try my best. It's like that kind of level of.
What was the Leia story?
The Leia one was they go on a family vacation with Han Solo.
Oh yes, okay.
On their way to bring him to Luke's.
Yes. Okay, that one was in this one, and then there was Darth Vader and Lord Sidious go on a vacation
together,
and then Obi's rapping and Tatooine.
See, like the problem is like they all are like don't really fit. Like they're all like forced into it, but at least with the Terrifying Tales, they were kind of interesting.
Because I
like these aren't that interesting.
I kind of like wasn't sure, and so I thought the Ben one was maybe in the last one, but no, it's
no. The Ben one we see last time is when he like becomes Kylo Ren, where like he joins the biker gang of the Knights of Ren, right? Which at least was kind of interesting because it's like we don't really know anything about this period. Mm-hmm. But again, also we know Disney Star Wars, everything is canon. So while not happening exactly like this, canonically, Han and Leia did go to Endor while bringing Ben to Luke's training. So that is canon. Whereas in the old canon, it would have been like another level. It's like, it's really not canon. It doesn't really count. But,
oh, the people must hate this one too, because Ben also falls in love with a lady of color.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think so, only because
this is so. You're making the Star Wars woke.
You're making it woke,
and also the lead character's fan.
Yeah, exactly. That was a spot on impression, actually, of the people. And I'm only like half kidding because that's basically what it all boils down to. No, I can't imagine there was hate against this just because like this is like a very like obscure's the wrong word, but it's not. It's not. A lot of people haven't seen it. Well, that was the second thing I was gonna say is that it's also not like the mainline thing. Not to justify the racist people.
No.
But it's like from their perspective, they can excuse this because it's like. Though I'm sure if they watch, like another example of it being woke, that they have to shoehorn in a black lady.
Oh my gosh, that's because black ladies are cool.
They are pretty cool.
No.
But it begs the question: why have there been no black ladies before?
I don't know. There was just the sexy black lady, and then that was it.
Oh! We are excited, aren't we?
Ew. Yeah.
Though this kind of ties back to what we said about The Force Awakens, where it's like
more black ladies in Star Wars.
It is a little like shoehorned in the diversity, but I'm not upset about the diversity. I'm more upset with like. It's very Disney. It's very clear Disney is like trying to make. It's like very effortful.
Yes.
So it feels kind of like superficial.
That's what I was saying about the.
I know.
The awakening one.
The Force Awakens.
Yes.
The Awakening one. Girl, you act like this was like years ago we watched this. This was like a couple weeks or months ago. Like, get a grip, woman.
Oh my frick.
Yeah, I literally have no more notes. I already said everything. Obi-Wan likes some brown sugar. I talked about Obi-Wan rapping. It was lame and forced. It's literally just an ad for the Star Wars Hotel. Specific, like name dropping specific things.
Yeah. And
because there's one part where Poe's like, I'm so excited for our itinerary. And he just like lists all the things that you would get to do.
Yeah.
And I was just like, if you don't know, then you won't notice.
Yeah.
But I know what you're doing. Don't think I don't know what you're doing here, Disney.
Well, and the thing was that I thought was funny is that, like, the way that he... Oh, excuse me, sorry. Had some Coca-Cola. So, like, the way that he says it is, like, he's hyper booking everything. But then, in real life, like, if you know, that's how things were. Mm-hmm. Right? So it's like
he was exhausted.
He's not going overboard. That's just like what the experience was just like nonstop. Like it's not even a vacation. It's like
and also it feels like everything that he says feels like the SEO version of it. Like it's like all worded in like the way like you would want like an ad person was like, make sure they say it like this.
Yeah.
Like and you would know better than I would.
Like
but
whole well, I think like the whole situation. Like what is it even called? What's it called? Galactic.
The Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser was the name of the hotel. The in-universe name for the hotel is the Halcyon.
The Star Wars Hotel.
So the Star Wars Hotel, precisely.
I think if there was another one, then it could be like, the Star Cruiser or whatever.
But no.
But there's not.
Well, this is with the very thing I was afraid of has happened. We're just relitigating the Star Wars Hotel. But the issue with it was that it wasn't like any other hotel because it wasn't a hotel. It was a LARP experience where you happened to sleep there. It was a multi-day LARP experience. So it wasn't really a hotel because a hotel would imply,
I guess.
Is there availability for these days? Great. I'm going to come for 4 days. And then you call, I'm actually adding a 5th day. Like, it's not a hotel. It's like, so it's like this weird in between of like, a LARP, but it's not a very good LARP.
So it's like you go all the way to Orlando just to stay in this one place.
Like you only go to the park for like 6 hours on one of the days.
There.
Yeah.
And the stuff didn't even always work.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like
that's right.
They were doing like this QR scanning.
So it wouldn't always work. But you know what? I think I found a way to kind of make this actually relevant. Is, this is the spoiler alert, ladies and gentlemen, or they thems. I'm sorry, and the they thems. What should I say instead of ladies and gentlemen? People? Hey, you?
Y'all.
That's pretty good. Folks.
In the South, we're already gender neutral. Y'all.
So y'all, this is the last Star Wars movie we're watching. Next week is our season finale, right? So maybe this is a good way to kind of talk, not about, I don't want to do the work we're going to do for our next episode now, but... the fact we're talking about this synergy thing, I think, speaks to where Star Wars has gotten. That it's basically Disney bought it. And we're about a little more than a decade out from when they bought it. Or better yet, this came out about a decade after they bought it. Because they bought Lucasfilm and Star Wars in 2012. Yeah, and this came out in 2022. So this basically, of course, like we talk about with every franchise, there's so much other media being produced in this time frame. There's TV shows, there's games, there's novels, there's comic books, there's so much theme park experience. There's so many other things, especially with Star Wars.
Yeah.
There's so many additional pieces of media. But just looking at the things we've watched,
but to like normal people, like this is like
No, my point in saying that is that like there's so much more to the story. And not only part of this 10-year period, but I mean like more stuff has come out since. Not movies or things that would count for the show, but like, again, more games, more shows, right? Like we hadn't had the Ahsoka show yet. I don't think we had the Andor show yet.
So you know what? I'm gonna try again. I've been telling myself I'm gonna try again to try to watch it again. I watched the first like 5 minutes. I was bored.
No, but you wouldn't understand it because you haven't watched the Clone Wars or Rebels, so you don't understand what this Ahsoka has done up to this point. Like, you don't... I didn't watch it either. From my understanding, it's very bland and uninteresting.
Okay, well, I was very excited because, you know, I like Ahsoka, and I watched like the first 5 minutes. I was bored out of my mind, and so I was very disappointed. But I have been telling myself I'm gonna try and actually watch more of it. Haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you know what? I think that captures modern Star Wars under the Walt Disney Company. Is like, people complain about the prequels being boring, but I don't think they're boring in a different way than Ahsoka is boring. Mm-hmm. The prequels are dry. Mm-hmm. Ahsoka is boring because you don't...
It's like, why are there 5... Like, why is it like 5 or 10 minutes, like, of her just like walking around in the dark, like in this cave looking for something, or like
because basically whatever that season was, I can't speak to it. It's not a show. It's a movie that like we're just gonna stretch it out to like 5 hours.
I guess so.
Right. So opposed to like, listeners, I finally got Vivian to actually watch the Clone Wars show. Mm-hmm. I got her to watch the first episode, and she was kind of like, yeah, whatever. And we kind of didn't watch anything for a while, and then we started watching some of like the arcs. She's obsessed. Don't let her fool you. She's hook, line, and sinker. But like, notice how those have overarching stories, and yet each part of the overarching story has like an arc to it. Mm-hmm. Like, those are episodes. Those are like television episodes at like their most fundamental.
I just didn't care enough to like. I wasn't like interested enough to keep going.
Yeah.
Because like obviously that wouldn't be the whole show. And also, obviously, it's not going to be just, like, one giant battle. Like,
but from my understanding, it's very bland and uninteresting.
I'm just like...
So it's just, I think it speaks to, like, this is where we're at. Boring shows, Lego featurettes that are basically just tie-ins to a hotel. Like, it's all very corporate-y and synergistic.
Don't you bash
Legos. I'm not bashing... What? I'm not bashing Legos. I'm just bashing this. And, you know, George Lucas knew how to make a buck, right? So I'm not trying to pretend that George Lucas was this, like, purely creative person. And like we talked about, like, I'm pretty sure he made certain narrative changes to Return of the Jedi for merchandising purposes. Like, it was going to be a lot darker and more kind of, like...
Is that the one with the Ewoks?
Yeah, but it's like, well, let's just make it happier because we'll sell a lot more toys. If we kill off Han Solo, which maybe narratively makes sense, we won't sell as many Han Solo toys. So like, you know, so, but all of that said, it was never this synergistic. It was never this cynical.
It's a bit much.
Because he was like, I'm going to try and make as much money as possible off of this thing I care about. Mm-hmm. Whereas Disney's, I'm going to make the most money off of this as possible. And the sentence stops. Like, there's no, it's not because we care.
It's like at this point, I feel like Star Wars is very close, if not a baby version of Disney. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, Disney is Disney, how like...
Star Wars is very iconic. It's Mickey Mouse.
No, I know, but it's like you don't even think of anything when you think of Disney because like everything is Disney, right?
It's almost gotten too big.
It's like a myth now, right? It's like a
almost like sacred.
Yeah, like Disney is like could be I mean, it's a man's name, but it could be, like, mean anything,
like,
right?
You say Disney, are you talking about Mickey Mouse or Pirates of the Caribbean?
Are you talking about
Kingdom Hearts or ABC shows? Or are you talking about Captain America?
Clothes? Are you talking about characters? Or, you know?
Yeah.
So there's, like, it's kind of, like, just, like, this infinite thing, and I feel like Star Wars has, like, slowly become that.
Like, Star Wars used to be, like, this thing in of itself, whereas now it's just, like, one piece of, like, this like, mammoth media enterprise. And I think that's one of the biggest things. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just now this one whereas like Star Wars was just Star Wars. Because
the way that I see it in my branding mind is not only is it like kid stuff, right? So they have the whole psychological grab of, like, say a McDonald's, right, where you have happy memories playing in the playground or whatever, and then you grow up as
and getting
an adult.
diarrhea.
Sure. And then you got diarrhea in the thing.
No, we just like get germs, and then you just get like sick.
And then so you grow up and you're like have positive associations with something that you grew up with as a kid, right? But it's touched so many different things that even though it's like, and like we all know it's an evil corporation, we're all like Disney adults in a way. Like there are some who are like crazy and they like go to a park every single day, but then there's also everyone has a relationship to Disney. I would say we're Disney fans, you know.
Everyone has a relationship to Disney.
Exactly.
It's a company that like no one hasn't heard of or has experienced it in some way, whether it be a movie or a show.
That's a good way, is a relationship with it in some way. And there's so many different ways to do that it's like, you know, so people who don't even, it's kind of silly, but like, you know, at Target, and they'll have like the graphic tees or whatever, and then like kids will wear them, and they're like they're like, do you even know like who Nirvana is, right? So it's like kind of like that. It's like people like
transcended
wear Star Wars stuff or like allude to it or like talk about it or whatever, but not even like actually know about it. Like they just,
if you really want to get philosophical, there's the idea of like essence versus like there's a whole thing of symbology.
Yeah,
right.
Basically.
So it's gotten to the point where these kinds of things have almost transcended the essence and substance of the thing that they represent. I guess that's like the ultimate wet dream of any brand strategist, is like the brand itself becomes, it ceases to become a stand-in for the product, and the brand becomes the product itself. Well, like that's like, think about Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Think like,
I mean, that's the thing, is that basically it has like moved to like an untouchable place of like such positive brand like sentiment that like
we give them a lot more.
It's just like
they're able to have a lot more.
It's like too big to fail. I don't know. It's just like it is, because like you know, we know, right, about you know, the college program, right, and people go and they work super long hours, and you know, they don't really make a lot, and you know, they're taking a semester off from school, all this stuff. You know, we both have friends who have done the Disney college program, and how it's like kind of shitty, or like, you know, we've learned about like the cast and characters. They're able to be like exploited like
because they're willing to work for subpar conditions.
And we're like, wow, that's really shitty. Like, you know, they should be paid a lot more or whatever. But you still have like Star Wars shirts. I still have like Mickey Mouse shirts. Like, you know, it's like you have to give up so much in order to like actually,
it's like draw a line in the sand or something.
Yeah, it's like, what am I supposed to give up my whole childhood? Like I watched was Disney, you know? So it's like it's like they can kind of like
we can't watch Family Guy anymore because now they now own it. Not back when it was created, but now they own it.
Yeah, but did you see what I'm saying? Is yes. How it's like Star Wars has been wrapped up into that ethos of just like,
it's just another part of this like large,
it's so weird
thing. And you know, and this is, you know,
it's got a very strong psychological hold.
Not to get political. You know, I hate to get political on this show, but this ultimately is a result of capitalism. It's not an accident, because theoretically capitalism, the whole supposed benefit of it is, the competition breeds innovation and it drives prices down because everyone wants to have the cheapest product so people will buy it. That's true at the start, but once you've consolidated and you've beaten other competitors, you've absorbed competitors or absorbed other assets, you get to a point where you, like you said, too big to fail. So you can coast and not innovate.
Like is like a fallacy.
Oh, it is a fallacy, 100%. Do you want to know who says something is too big to fail? The people who will suffer the most if it fails.
Yeah.
So like during the 2008 financial crisis,
that's where I've heard it is from the from
that movie,
financial
the HBO
crisis.
Movie.
But
what I was gonna say, if I could finish before you woman-splain to me, is
God.
because they've grown companies like Disney, and this is true across all different industries, but Disney's the biggest example in the film industry because they're easily like the biggest. I don't know about sheer dollars, but just in terms of just like qualitative success. When you get to be that size, you have the room to be complacent. Because you have not monopoly is the wrong word, but you have such a strong hold of the market, both economically but also psychologically. You can get away with producing really mediocre product and know, okay, as long as we're not too mediocre, people will still buy it. And I'm trying to tie it back to this.
There's the psychological and cultural dissonance because, right, like we went to Disney and I still like, you know, fondly look at like the little.
Oh, they make incredible stuff.
You know,
sometimes.
the little alebrije that I got from Mexico, but it's like also
Mexico
like,
and Epcot, not
Mexico and Epcot.
The
And but then it's like
why go to
this.
real Mexico? You could just go to Mexico and Epcot.
Exactly.
But that's what Disney wants to do, where it's almost like it is the substitute for everything.
No,
in your life,
it's
like,
not. But you know,
but that's what they would like.
But it's a lot cheaper than taking a family trip to, you know, hit more countries in Epcot than you would taking individual trips to China.
That's true. That's true. Yes.
But anyway, so it's just like.
That's how you get stuff like this, where it's just kind of like it's. If this was just mediocre,
but they get away with
that would be that's the thing. Like it's like that meme from Breaking Bad that people use of I don't even know what the context is within the show, but he's just like presumably talking about Walter White, and he's just like he can't keep getting away with this.
Who is he?
Jesse Pinkman?
Oh, Jesse.
Yeah.
You never said.
Oh, sorry.
He was.
But like if this was just mediocre, that would be whatever. But the fact it's mediocre and a subliminal commercial,
it's like
that's what gets me. Is that
it's like endearing in a way. It's like we both looked at each other and we were like, LOL, like that's
we
like
both
the
knew.
exact inside of the hotel. Like how silly, you know.
And it would have been cringe back in 2022, but it's really cringe now considering the whole endeavor imploded on itself. So it's even more cringe now, and it's like because ultimately, again, it sucks that art is a business because basically you have the two tensions of you want to make the best art as possible for the least amount of money as possible, right? So that tug and pull often results in something like this where it satisfies the basic, but it's not going to stand the test of time. And not just because it's bad, but because it has a very specific contemporary commercial objective. Right?
Well, that's where we are as a society right now, though, is just wanting...
We do live in a society.
Cheap and fast, right?
My point with this is that they're making things not in the service of, like, let's make good art and then figure out how we can make as much money as possible from it.
Yeah.
They go... They almost do the equation backwards. Like, we want to accomplish this very specific corporate objective. How good does it have to be to be acceptable? Well, right? That's the issue. Like, we have the whole equation backwards.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is that maybe at this point, it may not be as drastic just because they've diversified their portfolio so much, but at some point they will have to like take creative risks in order to maintain that.
I mean, just look at the box office for 2024.
That's that's why they've done a lot of remakes of a lot of like
sequels,
beloved movies.
But they're running out, so now we're gonna get they just announced they're doing a Tangled live action remake.
Oh.
Like that was only like 14 years ago.
So they're really at a point where they're trying not to take risks, but in order to maintain the level of mediocre that they are having right now, is you have to do that. That didn't just happen, you know. That happened because of like the golden age of Disney.
Well, that's the thing is that's why I've never understood the desire of like let's just keep relying on the brand, because every brand was once a risk
Like, you
untested
can
risk.
only do this for so long.
Eventually it becomes a feedback loop because then you start referencing the references.
Yeah.
So it basically just becomes like an echo chamber of just like nothing. I was gonna say something. I forget what it was. But just like with Disney, I know. The issue with Disney was they went, okay, and this is maybe true for the past decade, but really right around the time of 2019, because that year they had like 7 movies that made over $1 billion, including Avengers Endgame, which made almost $3 billion.
Nope.
It was easily one of the best years for Hollywood, and then COVID happened, so it kind of like reset everything.
Yeah.
But Disney at that point was like, okay, we're basically at the top of our game. We're gonna start taking risks again. But they didn't take risks creatively. Their ideas of risks was just diversifying the mediocre content.
Yeah.
So it'll still be a mediocre film, but now we'll have a black lead or an Asian lead or a woman, God forbid, right? So when those things started to fail, what they went is, oh no, it's because we diversified. And it's like, no, it's because the content you were making was subpar. You know what I mean? And look at, and this isn't so much about the diversity thing, but look at just the box office from 2024. The 3 biggest movies of the year are going to be Inside Out 2, Deadpool and Wolverine, and Moana 2. Deadpool and Wolverine is really just Deadpool 3. Do you notice what's the common theme? They all got numbers at the end, right? Yeah. So it's just going to be, it's like very short-sighted. Because again, you have people where like on a corporate level, like they just come in and out. Like Bob Iger's an anomaly. The fact he's been like basically the head of Disney for like almost 20 years now, barring the two-year period where he like left and then came back, right? So it's just tying it to this specifically. This is not really this movie's fault, but this is just like the pimple that on the ass of the problem. Right? You know what I mean? It is just the one small, like if I were to do a whole essay about this problem, I would not talk about this movie even. Like this is not even like the biggest example, but it's just like, you know, it's like we do these seasons of our show. And obviously because most of the time these franchises are ongoing, so it's not often that we'll end on a movie that's like, oh, that's a great way to end this, our season, right? But this is maybe one of the worst examples. Just because it's the most, like, throwaway, cynical... Like, at least Lego... Like, and you might be saying, oh, but Peter, you're being too hard on this. This is just like a Lego thing for Disney Plus, just like for kids, it's short. No, because the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special, while not great, was way better. Because at least it had, like, a story. Whereas the last one didn't really have a strong story. It was just an excuse to tell like these 3 little weird stories. But at least it was like its own kind of thing.
This is straight up plug.
Whereas this has all the problems of the last one, on top of it being a semi little plug for the Star Wars Hotel. So it's just like, even by the standards of Disney Plus Lego, in this ilk, it still fails to meet the bar, I think, even by these standards. But do you want to hear some critical reception? This is, I guess, fairly received. I'm right to be honest, as an 88%. I think that's preposterous. Maggie Lovett of Collider gave it an A grade, and that's preposterous. And she said, quote, meta-filled mayhem that plays on some of the corniest and most familiar Star Wars tropes is the perfect piece of cinema for long summer nights, end quote. Maggie, we talked about SEO. That was clearly just an SEO statement to get people to click on Collider.com so that then people can see the banner ads to buy a toaster. Really? Is it the perfect piece of cinema for long summer nights? When you're dead, do you want that to be in your obituary? I'm sorry. I'm not trying to pick on you, Maggie, but that's preposterous.
I'm sorry. That just came out of nowhere.
The perfect...
I was like, wait, is that in the title? Oh, no, it's not.
No! That's insane. I don't know. Maybe I'm being...
Summer nights. It's only 45 minutes.
Yeah! Like that, I'm sorry. Again, I'm not trying to impugn this. God forbid, Maggie, if you ever listen to this, I'm not throwing shade at you. I've never read any of your other work. I'm sure you're a wonderful writer and reviewer.
Well, you said meta-filled, so there is an acknowledgement. There is some acknowledgement.
It kind of feels like an AI wrote it. Perfect piece of cinema for long summer nights. Tara Bennett of IGN gave it 7 out of 10 and wrote, quote, Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation wraps up the trilogy of sequel character specials with an emotional conclusion. Is it? And some very funny summer riffs on beloved characters, end quote. It was kind of funny to see Emperor Palpatine.
That was funny. That was probably my favorite one.
Remember the last time we said the Terrifying Tales was like a piece of gum. Like there's some like decent amount of flavor at the start, but then like within 5 minutes, it's kind of like, now I'm just like chewing flavorless gum essentially. Mm-hmm. This is like that, but you lose the flavor in like a minute. Like there are moments of like, oh, that's kind of funny, or like that's kind of neat to see, but it's like very like it does not really achieve any level of dopamine increase in my brain.
Well, it was really strange because, like, I don't really, like, I've never thought of, like, Obi and Finn meeting, and so, like, that was just, like, a strange dynamic, and then, like, It was Anakin, it was pre-Vader Anakin.
But he knows about
Vader, and there was also, like, insinuation about it because he was, like, scuba diving. And
he's like,
yeah.
And he comes out, but he's just like a scuba diver.
Like, I don't know. There was just like, it just seems strange.
Yeah. The Times rated it 1 out of 5 and called it, quote unquote, another dud.
Like the New York Times?
No, I think the Times, I think that might be its own publication, I think.
The Times.
The Times, a plural. Yeah, you're right. It could be the New York Times. It could be the LA Times. It could just be the Times.
Oh, the Chicago Times.
The Chicago Times. The Parsley Sage Rosemarian Times. On Letterboxd, it has a 3.04 out of 5, which I think is higher than Terrifying Tales.
Oh.
No. You're all incorrect.
Well, it does take less risks. It is more palatable.
This one's more palatable?
I just mean, like, emotionally.
Emotionally? Here, do you want to hear some reviews before I start getting emotional? Here's some reviews.
Sure.
Charlotte writes on Letterboxd, Obi-Wan wraps in a Hawaiian shirt, so automatic 5 out of 5 stars. Suko de Universo said, quote, Spielberg may retire. And then Adam, I wonder how his wife Eve is doing.
Just Adam
says, quote, the best one yet, these are canon in my eyes.
Huh?
You are all preposterous.
Silly.
Viviana, is it even worth asking if you have a favorite part?
I think I'm gonna say it's the vacation with Lord Sidious, just because.
To the beach, yeah.
Just because
that's pretty fun.
He's like
or funny,
grumpy.
Oh, also Weird Al is in this.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
As like the he's like running a bunch of like games on the beach.
But it's just funny because I'm like I relate because I'm just like
grumpy on the
sitting on the beach. And like, isn't this beach wonderful?
He's like, boy, isn't this beach wonderful?
Yeah.
He's like, I hate it.
It's fine. Whatever.
he really does.
But then he ends up having a good time.
Well, because he's like, I'm Lord of the Beach. I won he's like, he wants to win so he can Lord of the Beach. I'm like, sir, you're the Emperor of the Universe. By default, you're already Lord of the Beach.
Also that too. He's just like so petty. He's like, that's what you want, to be Lord of the Beach.
It's just so preposterous.
Like, really?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. I think my favorite part, it was kind of funny to see Obi-Wan rap.
That was silly.
In concept only, though. The actual rap, it wasn't that funny.
No.
It was just more like, isn't that in concept kind of funny?
No, he wasn't trying to entertain. He was trying to distract.
Yeah.
He's trying to.
Though he does get really into it.
All the Quadgamen get to the.
The coaxium?
No, like all the different people.
Oh, I don't know, just the peoples. Though, you know what my favorite part is?
What?
The fanfic written about Obi-Wan and the Black Lady making sweet love.
Is there a fanfic?
No. Well, I don't know for sure. Probably not, because this is like fairly obscure. Mm-hmm. Maybe I should write it.
I thought the Ben story was also.
But as most
silly.
fan fiction is, it's like kind of subtly microaggression-y racist.
What? Why?
Because most people who write fanfic, not to generalize, but I feel like especially the early 2000s, a lot of people who wrote fanfic were nerds, and a lot of nerds were white people. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you had a character, like, have you ever read books where, like, it's a white author talking about a black woman, and it's always, like, her skin is always, like, caramel. It's, like, always, like, it's always very, like, exoticized.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that, but as, like, a performance art piece.
You're really caught up on this black lady. She was just doing her resistance job.
And Obi-Wan wants a little taste.
Are you just surprised because she's a black lady?
I didn't know Obi-Wan was into black ladies.
Yes, any lady.
And Obi-Wan, pansexual.
Yes, any person, creature, alien.
If you have a hole, that's the goal. That's what he says.
Or that.
Or a droid. As we saw with Lando. And
how
does that work? I mean, it works.
I still want to know how it works, but okay. I feel like this is like freshman science class where people are asking, pineapple or coconut?
What does that mean?
Would you rather fuck a pineapple or a coconut? And some people,
as a boy or as a girl?
Yeah,
would I want to have a pineapple shoved up my ass?
Would you...
This episode is really... There's about maybe 10... there's maybe... I would say 10% of this has been actually about this. 80% has been about interesting topics. And the other 10% is just bullshit. But... would I want to put my penis in a coconut? Isn't a coconut just like liquid?
A coconut or a pineapple.
But isn't a coconut just like a hard shell with like water on the inside?
There's meat.
There's meat?
Yeah, there's like the inside of a coconut, you know, the white stuff?
Oh, that could feel nice.
Yes.
Fleshy.
But then
put it in the microwave a little bit, it'll be kind of warm.
But then they're like, "Oh, but then it's like it only goes so far, so you'd rather do a pineapple." But then they're like, "Oh, but a pineapple, they have like the spiky outsides."
That sounds like a debate someone would have if they have a large penis. Luckily, I don't have that problem, so I can just choose the coconut and don't have to worry about. Oh, but there's not enough. There'll be plenty of room. Don't worry.
I don't know.
Don't worry.
You're just a freshman in high school. You walk into science class, you sit down, and these are what the boys are chatting about, you know. So.
And what are the girls talking about? Banana or cucumber?
I don't know. I was very invested in this conversation.
While we're on the top, while we're just asking
I just thought it was very strange.
I ask. We've really gone off the rails here. This is what this has done to us. This is what capitalism does. It's designed to distract us from the real issues, so we don't question the system. But I ask this with complete sincerity. I don't ask this as a rhetorical to debunk anything. I ask this with sincerity.
What do you want?
If lesbians don't want to have sex with men, but a lot of them still use like dildos, which are phallic shaped. So, do they actually if there was like a trans woman and they had a penis, would they like that? If you're a cis lesbian, would you like having sex with a trans woman if they have a penis?
As long as they're okay with it. I mean, I've heard of instances where...
are some lesbians like, oh, I don't want to put anything in my vagina. I ask this with complete sincerity.
There are golden lesbians. Just like there are golden gays.
I'm not just saying lesbians who've never had sex with a man, but like they wouldn't enjoy a big dildo.
No, I mean, it would be someone's preference, but like in terms of like liking men or not, I mean, does a penis make a man? Like,
I guess not. It would be transphobic to say so. I don't know. Yes. I don't know.
Well, and then also like for trans
I guess my question is what does it mean to be attracted to men or women? If not their genitals.
I don't know.
I'm not trying to be transphobic. I'm just trying to understand.
That's a good question.
Right? What does it mean to be attracted to a man or woman or anybody?
Maybe hormones? I don't know.
I guess so.
Or
I say this with complete sincerity. I'm not really sure.
Maybe pheromones?
I don't know. All I know is I'm attracted to you, honey. And I love you.
Oh, thank you.
1 to 10. What are you giving this movie? Let's wrap this shit before we start saying stuff that is like X-rated.
Before. Okay.
Oh, this has been like PG.
Oh my god.
Okay, Viviana. What are you giving Lego Star Wars Summer Vacation?
Okay, well, I was gonna say a 7, but then it feels weird to put them above all the like prequels.
That would be strange.
But I think as what it is, as a piece of marketing, I think it's fantastic.
So what are you giving?
You know what? I'll give it a 6. I'll put it in front of the Great Heap.
Okay. poor Great Heap. Okay, so just below
was a good
Obi-Wan.
concept.
Just a hair, just below by a hair.
It was a good concept. However,
Okay.
the heap did not turn out as heapy as we had expected.
It did not turn out as heapy as we wished. I'm giving this thing a 5.
Okay.
It's just mediocre. It leaves me feeling nothing, which makes me angry. Right? It's just so I have a couple 5s. So I have Attack of the Clones. I think I would rather watch Attack of the Clones than this. Star Wars Rebels Spark of Rebellion. I think I'd rather watch that. Star Wars Droids The Great Heap. Yeah, I'd rather watch that too. So I'm gonna put this under that. So out of 22 movies, this is your what is it? 18.
Wait, actually,
and this is my 20th. So we both kind of have it near the bottom.
okay, yeah.
Oh!
Yeah, okay.
I think, well, take a good look at it, honey. That's your ranking.
It is what it is.
That's your ranking of all 22 Star Wars movies.
Wow. Why is Revenge of the Sith both our top?
Because it's the best one. I mean, well, why? Why is the sky blue?
I think some would find that very controversial.
Not today. Maybe 10 years ago, but not today.
I don't know.
Anyway, it really sucked the life out of me. I have nothing to give.
The life out of you.
It feels like it's like I could go for a nice coconut right now to console me. Because after this is just. But that might take me a week. So we'll have to resume this in a week, because that's it for this week's episode of Now That's What I Call a Franchise. Next week we'll be taking a look back on the entire Star Wars franchise and try to make sense of it all. Viviana, where can they find us?
On a beach, apparently.
With a coconut and how about a coconut and a pineapple? At the same time.
That was brought up.
At the same time.
You guys can find us wherever you get your podcasts, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Franchise Podcast.
And if you have the time, leave a rating for us on Apple Podcasts, because apparently that helps.
If you have even more time, maybe leave a review too.
And maybe don't leave a review after this one. We know you have many podcasting options, and we thank you for choosing us. Peace out, guys.
Later, Peter.